Oh,
Morning.
Hey, Jonathan.
Good morning.
You're gonna sing my mic. Angie, are we ready to get going here?
Everything looks good on my end. I'm ready.
Sweet, thank you. Welcome everybody to the PPACG Water Quality Management Committee. It is March 26, 2025. It is 9 a.m. This is a virtual meeting today. Let's do introductions really quick. I'm Jonathan Moore with Fountain Sanitation District in Lower Fountain. I am the chair. Let's just go around by alphabet first name. Angie, you probably get a start.
Looks like I'm up. Angie Martell, I'm the environmental planner at Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments.
Brandon, maybe next. I'm Brandon Bernard with Security Water District.
I'm Connie King, law firm of Connie H. King, LLC. I represent several special districts.
Jim Ekman with Fountain Sanitation and Lower Fountain Metro. I don't know who's next.
JB Farmer, Fort Carson.
Jesse Schaefer, Woodmore Water and Sand.
All right, I think that leads to Kevin Brown, Cherokee Metro.
Mark Philly with Colorado Springs Utilities.
Heal Security Water and Sanitation Districts.
This is Roger Sams. I was out and not near my office, so I came by Angie's conference room, sitting in here.
There you go. Are you all by yourself, Roger?
Oh, no. There's other folks here helping.
Oh, there we go.
Making it work.
Make sure they keep you on the straight and narrow, Roger.
Okay.
Is that everybody, Angie?
Looks like we had a couple of people join in the meantime. JB, Robert, and Karen.
You guys
Yeah, I
wanna
already
introduce
introduced myself.
Oh, sorry,
yeah,
JB.
did.
Yeah, I'm Fort Carson Environmental Compliance, new water quality program manager here.
Thanks.
Robert, Paintbrush Hills Metropolitan District Water and Sanitation.
Welcome.
Best for last, Wally Eves with Woodman Hills.
There you go, Wally. Best for last. All righty, Angie, it looks like we have a quorum. You agree?
That is correct.
Okay,
Yes.
awesome. Any changes to the agenda today that anybody has? Hearing none. I'm gonna approve that by consent. Public comment, anybody have public comments? Hearing none. All right, we're gonna skip down to item number 4, discussion items, presentation of the 208 data request, FCA guidance concerning feasibility and implementation. Who would like to go ahead, Angie?
Yeah, so next month we are having the CDPHE come talk about their feasibility and implementation work that they're doing. I believe everyone here is familiar with that process. Is that correct? Or that concept for the most part? Okay. So they're working to understand economic capacities of wastewater facilities to meet the limits and make water quality improvements over time. And they're using an EPA framework to do the analysis. And that involves collecting a bunch of economic data from individual treatment facilities. And so they're engaging with us as the 208 planning agency, and they would like to also be more collaborative with you all. They're doing this at a statewide level as well as the local individual level. And they're generally explaining that it's to make informed decision-making for water treatment improvements. So they've given me a few, basically, I guess call them talking points about sort of what they're working on and what they're looking for in terms of data. And I can go over those if you all think it's helpful. But I think that you guys have an idea of basically kind of where they're going. So I wanted to bring this up in preparation for next month to see if you all had questions that you'd like me to have them be prepared to talk about.
Thank you. Anybody have questions?
So they'll be going over the
Can you hear
data
me?
that they're,
This is Ann.
go ahead.
Could I just ask? I tuned in kind of late. I was confused. If there's anything they could talk to about rural problems, that would be good with wastewater. Thank you.
Yeah, so
Economic.
this is a statewide initiative that they're working on. It doesn't specify rural or urban or anything. It's anyone who has a wastewater treatment responsibility, and they'll be looking for different data. So they'll be going over the different data that they're asking for and sort of the benefits of participating with data sharing. So if any, you may not have questions right now, but if anything comes up between now and before our April meeting that you'd like me to share with them, I'm happy to do that.
Thank you.
And Angie, did they give you any specifics that they wanted to talk about at that meeting with you?
Yeah, so they'll be giving a presentation of their feasibility and implementation work, what kinds of data that involves, and then really they're going to be here to answer your questions about the process, because the main thing they want to get out of it is data from you, financial data from you, about you know, are you in debt? How much what are your service rates? Those sorts of things. I have a list. I don't have it in front of me. I probably should, but I have a list of data that they're asking for. So really, they're just here to be answering your questions.
So the one question that I think I would ask, or ask you to ask anyway, would be, what is their definition of feasibility? I think we've all seen the old-fashioned EPA definition of financial feasibility, where they run a bunch of numbers and statistics and your median household income, et cetera, overlay all of that on top of your rates and your debt load. And they come up with, well, gee, for you, this is feasible, and it's quite often a large amount.
Okay.
And then obviously for other utilities, it's a different number. So I'm just curious as to, they're collecting all this data. How are they going to use it to determine feasibility for meeting current requirements and future requirements?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, thank you, Jesse.
But Angie, is our next meeting the 20th or the 30th?
It's the 20 something, April 23rd.
Okay, reason I was looking is, at least on my calendar, I've got that feasibility and implementation subgroup meets starting at 12:30 the same day. So
That's right.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, so they're coming, I think they want to be here in person to present, but they haven't confirmed that. And then, yeah, we do have that feasibility and implementation subgroup meeting from them that afternoon. And that's two separate things. They want to meet specifically with you all to answer your questions one-on-one.
I guess probably for me, it would have them explain really the interface between what the expert panel is doing for that feasibility and implementation effort and how that is going to interface with what the staff is doing relative to what Jesse just talked about in terms of what's feasibility or what's feasible from a economic and community standard standpoint.
Okay.
And I guess on
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, on a related note, I somehow am on the team that worked on the problem statement for the expert panel. And the panel's met 4 times now, and they just got back to us saying that they can't complete the scope of the problem statement. And so we're going to be having a couple meetings with them over the next couple weeks. And so I think hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll have a better idea for what the expert panel will actually be doing, and that might impact, how data is used. And so hopefully there's some clarity there, but I don't think right now there is a whole lot of clarity.
Maybe they can elaborate on it.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Angie, you said they were going to be asking for some financial information from us, and maybe you don't know the answer to this, but do you know how they're going to make that request of us?
Yeah, it's just they are giving us a list of it's probably 3 or 4 bullet points of data. They have a list of ideal data. If you can only provide a little bit of data, it's like 4 things. And then if you're really into it and you want to provide, their full list of 10 things, you can provide that. So it's really just how it would work is they'll give me the list of data they're asking for. We talk about it like this, and you guys say, okay, I'll share that data, and then you give it to me and I give it to them.
Okay.
Can we get that list, Angie, before the meeting? So
Yes,
we can
I will send it out after this meeting right now.
It sounds kind of odd though, because if we give them this financial data, and then they come back and say, oh yeah, well, we're going to change our rules and regs and you guys can all afford it. Well, that doesn't seem feasible. It's like, why would I give them my data? What's the motivation?
That's the rub, right? You give them the data and it's used as a weapon against you.
Well,
Right,
I can cut to the chase. I can cut to the chase and tell them we can't afford it. So
I like where Roy's headed.
I understand that concern 100%, but I also want to, give you the thought that the entire state is playing into this. Well, not playing into it.
That's a good way to put it.
Cooperating with them and sharing data. And I feel like this is just if we don't make our voice heard, then, say Aspen gives them lots of data and they're only hearing from certain communities. It's not a well-rounded picture of what we're actually experiencing. So even if we give them just some data, it helps round out that picture for our region a little better.
Well, I think that a lot of the data is already public. I mean, we can
Yes.
do their work for them and put that together, but I haven't seen the list, but any other, I guess, data that would require a core or something else, I just don't see the need.
Yeah. Okay, so the list, I could have put this in your packet, but I have the list here. So it's user fees, dollars per month. This is the ideal data, the short list. Number of commercial and residential taps and ratepayers. So they want commercial and residential separate. And your service area, which is already in our 208 plan. That's something we're required to have anyway. And like was stated, it's public data already. And then the long list would include permittee residential wastewater flow, permittee total wastewater flow, permittee current annual operating and maintenance expenses, excluding depreciation, current financial commitments, including total net debt, debt service level, bonds, and bond rating. So I'll send that out to everybody.
Hey, Angie, I'm hearing a lot of feedback.
Yes.
Is that Roger? Are you muted, Roger?
No, I'm not.
Okay, maybe we gotta give you muted and then we'll get that feedback. Thank you.
Thanks. So that's the list, and I will send that out after this meeting so you guys can mull it over.
And thank you. Anything else, Angie, on the 208 data request?
The feasibility and implementation data is, I'm good with that one if we want to go into the 208 one.
Okay.
Okay, no other comments, I guess, so we'll move on. Okay, so as you guys know, we've been working on some minor updates to the 208 plan. And I've been reaching out individually, and some of you have already just sent your data over to me for that 208 plan update. I really appreciate it. So there's a couple people I still need information from, a couple people on this call. But thank you everyone for sending your information. I'm reaching out individually to everyone to get information from you. So the sooner we get that, the better. And just, I'll be reaching out individually to those who I still haven't heard from. And then
Well,
with
we're all
that,
friends. Call them out, Angie.
I can't do that. I've been making individual calls all week, so it is only Wednesday, but that's okay. So the next thing we have with this current update that we're working on is mapping those service area boundaries, and we'll update the maps in our 208 plan. And then with that, we're going to be doing population projections and land use changes. So if you guys want that data when we're done with it, it'll be in the 208 plan, but I'm happy to share it with you as well if it's useful for you. And then with that, once that's complete, which is hopefully the end of May, we'll be starting on our next batch of 208 planning. And we had originally talked about doing sort of a larger 208 plan update, sort of the whole plan. But it looks like we're probably going to be delaying that because CDPHE is working on the TMDLs for Fountain and Monument Creeks. So it makes more sense to do the larger 208 plan update at the same time as that, because we'll have to go to the WQCC for all of that. So with that, the point of telling you that is that we're going to be looking for sort of other projects that could benefit the goals of the 208 plan. And that could be pretty broad, honestly. The requirements of the 208 plan are really pretty broad. So I'm going in and looking at the goals of the 208 plan and the 208 plan requirements, and then doing some specific outreach to different water quality management groups in our region. So the 208 plan addresses 5 different watersheds. So we're looking pretty broad. But within that, we're also considering working with a class at UCCS to do some sort of a project. So the point here is, if you guys have different projects in mind that would be helpful in terms of not infrastructure projects, obviously, but more planning projects, maybe looking at sources of pollution or different treatment options, something like that. I know you haven't had any time to think about it right now. So if you want to share your ideas with me on different things that we could do right now, I'm happy to, we can talk about those, or send them to me later as you think about it. So any questions on that? Did that all make sense?
Yeah, I heard any.
Got it.
Great. So I'll be doing some individual outreach. So just think of different planning projects that could be helpful to you as they relate to the 208 plan. And we'll see what we can take on.
Thank you. All righty, should we move to item number 5, information items, Angie?
Sure. Unless anyone has any thoughts there, I'm good to go. I knew this would be a really short meeting, so thank you guys for entertaining it. All right, so State Revolving Fund is having some workshops. They're having full-day workshops this summer. One of them is in Montrose in July 9th, which is kind of a long way for us. But the other one is in Castle Pines on July 29th. So if you're interested in taking advantage of the State Revolving Fund, I think it'll be a really useful workshop. If you want information on that, the CDPHE will be sending out RSVPs pretty soon, but I can also share it with you if you're interested.
Angie, maybe my memory's not as good as it used to be, but I didn't think SRF had any funds. I thought they transferred all that to congressional direct spending. Has that changed?
Yes, that's changed. I can send you the most recent newsletter I got from them, and it shows all their different buckets of money just so you can see what they have right now.
Yeah, send it to all of us, would you?
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Sure. Yeah, I can do that.
Jesse, I know last year they had money for PFAS, of course, and especially on the wastewater side, but nobody needed it. So I think they ended up transferring that back to water. But yeah, if you got any PFAS, there's money for that, and I think lead and copper.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you need information on the PFAS programs, or I think the lead program just closed recently, but I can send that out as well.
Jesse, are you guys getting any PFAS in your groundwater up there in the Woodmore Monument area?
No, we've tested. I think we tested under UCMR 5. We didn't have anything above detectable limits.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. All right. Anything else, Angie, on that? That'd be good.
That's all I got. Anyone else?
Hearing none. All right. Thank you. Item number 6, member entity announcements. Anybody got anything on that?
I will. About 2 years ago,
Hi, this
this
is,
committee this committee approved Cherokee's new lift
Kevin
station
Brown.
project, and that project is going to start up this afternoon. So thank you all for
Yay.
your help in reviewing that a few years ago, and we're excited to get that started.
Thanks, Kevin. I think, Ann, did you have something you'd like to share?
Yeah, I would like to mention that next Tuesday, April 1st, Kat McGarvey, who is the environmental person for El Paso County Health Department, is going to come and meet with us in Green Mountain Falls. And I just thought I'd just mention that, we have this unique problem up here. And so we're still working on the title change problem. It looks like it might be a little more helpful for those of us who have historic family properties, that if it just our old cesspool still works, we can keep it. But it's a touchy problem. And then also, I would just like to be informed, and I know that Angie's working on all this, and Karen, for grants for, the rural areas to solve our problems with pollution. I'm sure all ours goes down into Fountain Creek. And Kat has said there's a lot of E. coli there. So, those kind of rural problems, I feel like, that's just a good idea to keep up with it. But she's going to meet with us and explain what the law will be. It isn't going to go into effect, I think, until this summer, perhaps. It's still being studied, but thank you very much.
Does
Yeah,
anybody have
and-
any advice for Ann? I'm looking, we're all pretty small relative to Colorado Springs, and I'm sure Jesse, Roy, Kevin, Jim Ekman have dealt with stuff like this in the past. I just want to see if there's any counsel from this group for Ann.
Oh, that's a nice idea.
Do you have
Well,
an
I know.
engineer on board? Does Green Mountain Falls have an engineer helping you guys?
I don't think so. Not yet. We're just kind of stumbling along. But we do have a wonderful nonprofit up in there. So maybe there's hope for some private money to come in. We're just kind of working on it. But I think it's great to listen to what all you guys know. I appreciate that. Thank
And
you.
one of my recommendations is getting an engineer on board sooner than later to kind of help steer this through. So,
Good idea.
yeah.
All right, I'll talk to him about it. Thank you.
Go ahead,
And-
Angie. I cut you off. Sorry.
No, it's all good. Anna, I just want you to know I've always got my eyes open on grants as well. So got my
I know.
radar on that, and as well as Karen does also.
Thank you so much. We all appreciate it.
Anybody else have anything they'd like to bring up? Hearing none. All right, meeting schedule. I think Roger already, our next meeting is the 23rd of April. So Angie keeps us on the straight and narrow on that, keeping us going. All right, if there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to
President
adjourn.
Roy. Oh, I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
you,
everybody.
Angie.
Thanks, everybody.
Jonathan.
Thank you,
Thank
Angie.
Take care.